Hello and welcome back to my channel, Checks Capture Stress, and today's video is episode 6 of Gambits Galore. So, today we played a Scotch Gambit, so let's go over it now. So, E4 was played, then E5 was responding. As we know what the Scotch game is, it was this. Now, when you capture and you play Bishop C4, this is now the Scotch game. Now, at the time here, I actually tried playing what's called the Haxo Gambit. We went over it, I believe, earlier on, about episode 3. Now, normally, obviously, the Haxo Gambit you would capture here, but he doesn't do that. And this is where we now go just to the normal Gambit, even though straight after there was a capture later on. So, we get into this position. It's quite nice for me. Obviously, he has to bring the knight out, otherwise it's mate in 1. So, now we play Rook E1 here. And now we're very much in line with the king. Bishop E7 is now responded. So, we play a sort of pin, obviously not onto the queen, but huge pressure on this knight now. That's the main thing. And yes, they've actually said we could play another pin, but if you think about it, using chess principles, we do not want to move a piece twice. So they castle, and we actually capture that d pawn ourselves, and now we put our queen to d3. I actually like this position now, as we are going to definitely be able to get our knight out very soon, as we do now. I feel like c5 was a bit of a bad move in my opinion, because this bishop is really bad, and he does move the knight instead, trying to get that bishop rid, which obviously we have to oblige to. Now we make the bad move h3 here, and this is where we're going to move knight e5, and this is not good for me as of this pin, and I'm actually forced to go all the way back to f1, so because I couldn't go here because of the knight, though he does miss the big fork here, which I'm very surprised about. You know, I didn't see it at the time. You know, this obviously normal fork, and I missed that. Anyway, he now plays queen to g5. He was too, into this, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, I still played this, which, saves me, but this knight check, I move the king, and now he has to take this pawn, and then we can recapture the knight. And now we're actually up material to a bishop for 2 pawns here. So after this capture as well, we're able to play our queen up 1, just so we can actually double up here. And now we put 2 onto here, and he makes the queen move, but again, it's too late, and I take the queen. I think that's a big mistake. I could just honestly just taken the knight here, but in the end anyway, it doesn't matter, because here he plays probably the worst move on the board, and we're able to play rook to g4, which actually, weirdly enough, traps it. So this is something that I would like to try and say with patterns. So there's a pattern where if you have a bishop where this pawn is and where that knight is, the knight can literally not move anywhere, technically, if there's no protection. Every square would be stuck here to this bishop, for example. And like a rook, again, the only squares it can really go to are these two, and it obviously would have been able to go here, but they blocked that, and now we've stopped those. So he tries to make a move at f5, we can capture, and here, there's, I believe, a fork here as well. But now, we're 2 pieces up. It doesn't really matter. And we're going to win the game. So, that is the game today. Let's just go over a few more times what we came up with here. So, we started off with this Scotch game, which turned to the Scotch Gambit. Now, what do we want from the Scotch Gambit? Normally, what you're going to see is quite a normal move, d6, surprisingly. But there is obviously that line that I say about if we do want to play the Haxo Gambit, where it's actually this. It's very crazy to see this as a whole, book move sort of thing. And, now we're actually nearly up a point. We're about to win this, which forces a move like this, for example. And now I'm in a very nice position. So I always try to get that position, but never really happens. But when this happened, obviously I'm expecting the Haxo Gambit, which doesn't happen. This is what makes it the Scotch Gambit. And here we castle. And as you can see, getting our queen out early seems to be quite a thing in the Scotch Gambit. And obviously castling kingside, there's no way we could castle queenside. And here we actually obtain the centre a lot more. Now, yep. And then getting all the pieces out. Make sure not to capture too much either. And this was obviously an unlucky pin, which we were lucky to escape. Wasn't the best my game, I'd say, at least. And here I definitely missed a very easy way. I just didn't capture the knight here, and actually just captured the queen, which is a bit silly. And then I was able to quite easily get this knight because I trapped it, and then I was able to very easily get the win after just capturing pretty much all their pawns, as you can see here. Surprised again, I didn't even capture that pawn. So, what do we want in the actual Scotch Gambit? So, as I was saying about the Haxo Gambit here with this, now let's say that just didn't happen and d6 was played. Well, what we're looking at here is definitely casting early, and we're actually looking at getting a proper attack now. The queen won't probably come out for a time, and we're really looking at, there will be c3 later on, I would say, but castle, anything like this, this is probably quite a normal position to see in the Scotch Gambit. And we'll be playing rook to e1, we'll be playing, it's all of these moves that are very, normal moves. And in the end, you're going to get probably middle games like this, and it's quite nice for either side. We're actually, quite level, and, we can go forward from that. So, that was the game. Just to go over, we actually had an 82.7% accuracy from that game. I'm very surprised how it was that high, to hit 75.5. We had one blunder, obviously that was that h3 move, and we had two great moves, and that was obviously those two pin or forks even we got nearly. It was this and even this move to stop any checks. So that is actually going to be it for today's video. It's quite an early finish, so hopefully you enjoyed this game. A little bit different and probably not my best games, I would say, but I'm trying to get as many gambits as possible. There's way too many gambits to go on, and hopefully I can carry on trying to get wins with every kind of gambit possible. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video. So thank you, and bye bye.